Hey guys, how's it going? Today's video is about two things. I wanted to go back to Astini Macro a little bit, look at the stats, and I wanted to show a site or platform I was working on. It's in a very early stages. You can try using it right now. I don't know what kind of traffic it can withstand. It might lag even like 5-10 people. It probably might lag as well already. Maybe it will work fine. I just don't know. I mainly was focusing on the database, so I didn't really have time for front end and optimizations. Hopefully, I'll continue working on it. At least I wanted to have data for the qualifiers that are in January. So I just want to show it and kind of talk about a couple of things. So it's kind of two in one deal. You'll find something out, and also it's sort of an explanation. In the previous video, I talked about Astini Macro, and Astini Macro is really maybe I should do. Astini Macro is really about the erosion cycle, and I think for those who are interested, can just Google it a bit more. I'm sure there are already other explanations. I was really curious to see if it actually matters, when you take Roche. And in the open qualifiers and closed qualifiers, there's a small kind of thing I need to mention. It's that maybe Astini Macro actually makes more sense in higher level tournaments. So in like tier 1 tournaments, it might have like a more profound effect than in open qualifiers and so on. But still, it's interesting to look at the stats. So far, we have Dream League open qualifiers and Blast open qualifiers and closed qualifiers. Not all of the Dream League qualifiers are there yet, only the first qualifiers. So it's like incomplete picture, but the stats will keep updating. So it's going to be interesting to see how it progresses. If we look at the close qualifiers, then it's just Blast because Dream League haven't started yet. We can see that Radiant gets Aegis in 52 games. It has 48% win rate. I'm sorry. There are 52 games in this close qualifiers. Radiant has 48% win rate. And Radiant gets at least one Aegis in 31 games. So that's like slightly above 50%, like 60%. And then with Aegis, they have 67% win rate if they get at least one Aegis. Radiant gets Aegis from 15 to 20 minutes. And I say it takes Aegis, not kills Roche, because those are two separate events. I checked for when they kill Roche, and the stats were very close, so I just use the Aegis because I think it's a bit more reliable. Radiant win rate with Aegis when they kill it from 15 to 20 minutes is 60%, and then when they kill it from 20 to 25 minutes is 62%, which is interesting because it goes opposite to Astini Macro. But then again, it's only 52 matches, and the sample size is just ridiculously small. If we look at just the open qualifiers, first of all, like there are way more matches and Radiant win rate is higher, but then again, it's the sample size, with the Dota stats is it's not exactly that important. Important, sorry, not important. It's not exactly telling the whole picture because the sample size is so small. Like all these numbers are just, they can feed your intuition, but I don't think they can give you like exact answers. That it's better to kill Roche at 20 minutes than it is at 15. It's just interesting to look at what's happening. In either case, it does seem like killing Roche at either one of these timings is very beneficial for Radiant, as they have pretty good win rate when they do that. Obviously, when you take Aegis, you might already be ahead. I've done some check-in for when basically only games where Radiant takes Roche while not having any gold advantage or like 1k at most, etc. And I don't actually remember what the stats were, but I can edit later and check it out. So far, Astini Macro, like it's there. Even in close qualifiers, the Radiant win rate is 50%, and then if they do take Roche, it gets higher. So what can we really say except taking Roche increases your win rate. The other stat that I wanted to look at, this is something Knoxville mentioned, I think, during TI, is that at TI, I think it was something like 70% win rate or something, 75% win rate. If a team takes both Wisdom runes at 7 minutes. Here in the open qualifiers, it's not the case. Actually, there are quite a few games. Out of 146 matches, there's only like if my stats are right, I just thought of something and maybe this is all wrong, but I don't think it is because I double checked it. Maybe I'll be. I'm curious to see what other analysts think about this. Maybe I'll do some Dota research later. Anyway, so it ends up being that there are not that many games where like 25% of the games, 2 Wisdom Shrines are taken by either team at 7 minutes, and it doesn't seem to. But again, sample size is so small. But there's nothing like you take double Wisdom and then you win every single game or something like that. Nothing like that is happening. But then again, sample size is kind of small. If we include close qualifiers, Radiant, you can see out of 52 matches, takes 13 die out of 4. But then again, it's like sample size. So it's hard to tell. If we look at 40 minutes, though, it's a bit more. So if we take all of the games from January qualifiers, taking 2 Wisdom Shrines at 40 minutes definitely has a higher win rate. But then again, we run into the problem of what if these teams are already ahead? Like they take 2 shrines because they're already like 5k ahead at 40 minutes or something like that. So this needs more research, but it's just interesting that at 7 minutes it's not that often and it's not so drastic. And then at 21 minutes it's obviously quite good. But then on the other side, you can think about it. 30% of the time, even when you take 2 Wisdom Shrines at 21 minutes, it might not feel good in the game. But then you don't have like 0% win rate in those scenarios. So that's also something. These stats are just, they're just a curiosity. I think for such sample size, you just have to download the replays and just go see what happens, or do like more complicated statistics where like you'll try to figure out if the reason that at 7 minutes it's basically even, because what usually happens is that the team that takes 2 Wisdom Shrines also loses like a hero or 2 heroes, or then they lose a lot of HP on the mid tower and so on. So it's like it's not easy to just say, okay, they take 2 Wisdom Shrines, but what do they lose in return? So it's not easy to say, can you just give up the Wisdom Shrine? Theoretically, Wisdom Shrine is like, if I remember correctly, it's like 4 waves of XP, like total. So if you can find a way to do that, like maybe they take your Wisdom Shrine, but you kill like your Ancient stack or something uncontested. Who knows? So there's definitely something to think about there. Like not just be a scripted bot and just go for the Wisdom Shrine every time. Just so we have to fight for the Wisdom Shrine. So there's something to think about there. I kind of want to briefly talk about the hero win rates. The most interesting thing about the hero win rates for me was that there's so many heroes that are getting banned a lot and then not picked almost at all. Like if we look at the heroes that have like this big ban ratio, means they're essentially picked and banned kind of at least the same amount. So they can be picked way more than banned, but not the other way around. These are all sort of second tier heroes, like they don't have crazy win rates. Actually, Void Spirit is kind of funny because in here he has 80% win rate, won 5 out of 6 games, which isn't talent, but it's kind of interesting. But then in the open qualifiers, the hero is in the dumpster, like 15% win rate. When I see numbers like that, I just want to go and I usually do go and double check. Like, is this really it? Is this how it is? 15% win rate? What the hell? But yeah, some of these heroes are second tier basically heroes. What this suggests to me is that hero pools are somewhat narrow in terms of like what people figured out is strong. Let's say in like 5% of games. Hero pools are small, but then there are these curious heroes such as Naga, Treant, Kotal, obviously like a big deal, but also um, let's say we wanna look at heroes that have like low contest rate. Because I like personally looking at Jesus Christ, 9% win rate. I like to look at these heroes who are in this like 20 to 30 matches, maybe like even 15 to 30 or 10 to 30. Because sometimes you find heroes that are like they're strong for like a week, but if you find them early, it's kind of interesting to see that, oh yeah, this is gonna work for a little bit and so on. And definitely like Treant is up there, and I think Earth Spirit might be actually a very strong hero, if for nothing else than the fact that the mid heroes are just like banned all the time. It's actually pretty crazy how many heroes are just banned all the time in mid. Like all the decent heroes are pretty much banned, and you have to ban like Viper, Huskers, all those heroes. I'm curious that Huskers in here. Oh, pick rate. Yeah. Yeah, because he's like 8 games picked, 92 games banned. Crazy. So yeah, mid is kind of tough. Kotal seems to do well, but then again, it's getting banned all the time because it's also flex pick. So in this like reality that we're in, where a lot of heroes are just getting banned, and even if you get them, you have to ban this and this and that. Earth Spirit seems like an interesting choice, because even against Husker, I know like a Husker Earth Spirit spammer, who spams both, and I've seen him like Earth Spirit against Husker, and actually it wasn't that bad previous patches because you could really uh set up things on the map and like do things. But yeah, I'm talking about something else. So definitely the hero pools are weird in many ways, and to me this means that I don't think the patch is figured out. I think there are gonna be interesting things happening. In general, if you're gonna be using this, there's some filters like you can look at. Let's say just only the strength carries. Uh, you can only look only on strength carries, for example, what they're doing, what's happening, and so on. Can look at mids. Probably not many strength mids. Oh no, actually more than I thought. And so on. So there are just a bunch of filters. These 2 tournaments haven't started yet, and closed qualifiers for Dream League are not there. But I'll keep adding tournaments as everything goes forward. Yeah, I think there is stuff that you can find out right now, like just find things that work well before anyone else, and using Spectral or like that Dota or Dota Buff or Dota 2 Pro Tracker. I think those are like completely fine options, but I just seem to not be able to do exactly what I want. I like this reactivity that I can just roll a slider and it just tells me something instantly. I don't have to like make a query and just go there and this and change everything. So kind of I like this style a bit more. Anyway, to finish off, there's something interesting that I found looking at the item stats, and I didn't know about this before I made like because I'm not watching too much Dota right now. I'm like very few games, and I'm not playing much. So I'm kind of out of the loop because I also don't really talk about Dota to anyone. Uh, and here's what I found that for 4 or 5 position, what's happening? Where is it? What am I doing? Components, yeah. I should maybe move these two items to just from components. They're not really components. They kind of are. But anyway, what I found out is that there are quite a few people who are buying boots first on 4.5. And really, it's mostly on 4, obviously. It has 50% win rate, which isn't bad. And it kind of makes sense that this is what you would get. The item makes sense, like the item just makes sense to buy in some, dead lanes or whatever. But what I found even more interesting is that pos5s are matching it with their own boots. And this is boots before runes. So this is, I can filter it out even like that. So this is from the base, from the get-go, you just buy this. Also, Gauntlet of Strength, like Crystal Maiden with 2 Gauntlets of Strength, 100% win rate so far. And I looked specifically at boots because I got curious, like, is this just somebody who's spamming boots? Like, who's doing this? Who is responsible that boots are... Let me just find the file. Who is responsible that boots are bought at all on pos5? First item, not just in general a good item, just first item. If you want to look at items that are just in general good on like pos5, and I can do something like this maybe. Vladimir's offering, always good. For stuff, Guardian Greaves, Mech, Link. I'm surprised by Ethelens, kind of, because, quite a few more pickups on pos5 especially, more than I thought. Drums were very popular, Snaking, the only person to buy them at TI non-stop. And then everybody else was like, nah, we're just gonna go Solar Crest. But then, Snaking, kept buying it and won TI, did well after TI and everybody started buying it before New Year's, but now it's kind of, less valuable. Yeah, so these are pretty good items on supports, and I don't want to really get into like what's going on. It's just I like looking at this because it uh, gives you an idea maybe in what direction to think. What's just strong. Like in some sense, I think that if you understand what items are strong, then you can draft accordingly. If like 4 stuff is overpowered, there are some heroes you want to pick and some heroes you don't want to pick, just because it's so uncomfortable playing against it, or so comfortable playing with it. Anyway, last thing that I wanted to show, it still relates to the boots on support. Unfortunately, it's not exactly in the what you call it. It's not online. Yeah, so if you want to try this, just go to this site, neutralcamp.com. Should work. I'll keep checking so it doesn't crash. Restart the server, whatever I have to do. Okay, I think this is the thing. Yeah. Jesus, like the front end is just. I'm gonna have to learn how to do that. Anyway, what I wanted to show here is this is for boots. It's my washing machine. So this is pos5 with boots. First item. I hope you can see it. Kind of can see the font. And this is us, and this is the enemy. So these are the players. These are the heroes. And why I wanted to like get this data is that you can see that there are, first of all, a bunch of players. It's not just somebody, like some 2-3 players in one region who figured it out or think it's strong and just doing it. It's a bunch of different players who are doing it from all kinds of regions. Like this guy is from China. He played pos5 Tidehunter, and I think he won. I think he played it twice. He started with boots, and he was against Keeper of the Light pos4. like a Monodrama who is an ogre player, uh, bought it against Dusk, bought it twice on Shen against Dusk. So maybe there's some kind of relation between, we see a lot of Dusk here, a lot of Dusk, a lot of Shadow Shaman. So there's definitely kind of relationship between buying boots first when you're facing a certain like pos4 and trying to counter a certain play style. So it's Warlock, Tree, and there's a Jakiro. Redius did buy it in the finals, and I think he won this Jakiro game at least. Against Monkey King. So it is like this clockwork kind of makes sense on clock, I guess. Basically, what I'm saying, I think this is like maybe it's already the meta, and I'm just behind because I don't, I'm not in the loop. I just find it. I either find it myself, or I will never know. Maybe it's already the meta, but maybe it's like a development story that we're gonna see a lot of support starting with boots, and it's just gonna change how the laning works. What mids are good and so on. So this might turn into something bigger, but I just wanted to show that it's not just an isolated case of one guy buying boots on one hero. It's actually a very diverse group of people on somewhat diverse group of heroes against somewhat diverse position force. All right. Well, that's that. I guess if you're gonna use the website, there's a link to Discord if you find any bugs or whatever. I'll keep working on it, see how it goes. Thanks for watching, and good games, everybody. Good luck.